Hey everyone, how you doing today? Thought I'd go over another space station update here, and I was looking at a lot of the comments and things, and I tried something before. I seen a comment that made me change my mind on some things. So to start with, on this version here, I didn't really do much with the main structure or the solar panels here, but I sort of rebuilt this whole side module assembly setup, and I came up with this design now. It's a little bit different than it was before. One of the comments suggested that maybe I fill in some of the area and put in like a landing pad here. So I started doing that, but then I started thinking about, well, if you parked here, how are you going to get into the space station from this location? And I was like, well, maybe you could go straight down, but then you'd be parked like right on top of where the an elevator or something is, which I was trying to avoid using any elevators on this build. So then I was thinking, well, maybe you could I could have something out in the end here that could drop down to this hallway. Now I did rebuild the hallway again. I went with heavy glass this time and kind of changed this around a lot, and also changed the facing for the module bays around to a different pattern and different design entirely, really. And that's kind of where I ended up at with it. And I was like, well, it's a little bit better. You know, you've got this would be 4 docking bays. Don't mind this junk on the other side over there. But then I took a pause and I took a look at some of the comments I got, and one suggestion was like, well, why not just have like 2 module bays and the modules just park straight into the sides of the creation and not have this big thing out here. Now this big thing, of course, is gonna ramp up the size class a lot, and more blocks and all that kind of stuff. So it will increase the price of the creation a decent amount by doing that. So I started thinking about that, and I'm like, I left this here because I put some time into building this chunk over here, and maybe I can use that for something someday, or maybe people want to keep it there. I don't know. But anyway, let me move on to the next one. It's let's see, past the Solaris. It should, yeah, there it is. So this is reworked again a lot. So on this one, okay, don't mind the solar panels. They're still trash. I still got to redo that. This one, I changed it. I set up module bays to go in on the direct sides of the creation here. So, and it fits quite nicely, and it lines up to the door here. I've got some things I want to adjust with the block work. I'm trying to get where the landing gear press up against this, and I've kind of screwed up my design there a little bit by putting those in place. But effectively, it works fine. You got the module bay door here. Kind of rebuilt the opening. I went with a rounder look again, but it's obviously not a hallway now. It goes straight in. So it'd be all airtight on the inside here. And I changed this upper piece around again, doing this kind of format again. I still decided against building this into a full-blown landing pad, but it's possible that could work, but then I would really have to put in a door somewhere in a very inconvenient spot. And that would, I don't know if I want to do that or not, and I'm not so worried about landing a lot of things on here. So this is what I ended up with, and just to show you what it looks like with the module parked in here, and I measured that top out to exactly fit this one. This one's the only module that I know that's really picky on its length, I guess, because of that extra part on the back. But if we pull in here, kind of see how that lines up there, and it goes. So basically what I meant is this back piece lines up to this extension on this particular creation. Most modules don't have that, but this one is picky, and I wanted to make sure it worked with this module. And it kind of centers it more or less into the side when the module is parked as well. So just kind of an extension out of the side there. Some other things I did is, cosmetically speaking, I expanded out this side a little bit around this angled area by a couple blocks here, and try to make it look like it's almost like on a weird hinge or something like that. Like that could, I don't know, move or something. I have no idea. I was just trying to make it look pretty. So there is that. So that's kind of how this one is working out right now. Now, I got some missing blocks back in the creation itself. I started out, I blew away all the container extensions that I had already placed so I could redo them. And I did start that on this build too. We go to the lower floor here. It's, again, I just started it. So I'm not too far into putting in bazillions of storage things. And I'm also working out placements for turbines in here too. I'm trying to utilize the space I do have, and there's some oddly shaped room areas in here. So I'm going to try to have like a storage, a wall of storage going down both sides. So once I get done with this side, I'll probably end up copying this side over to the other side. But it's going to be a little bit asymmetrical in some aspects. Like the furnaces, I decided to go with 4 furnaces, and I put them in here, and I also integrated more storage controllers in here. Now these are actually finished up at some 640s here, so you got 4 furnace locations. Now I'm going to have to put in a subfloor below here. I decided I wanted them there instead of on the sides like I originally planned on doing it, because that would disrupt all the places I needed for storage and craziness. And it's a complex thing to run all these storage bays in this base. So I'm working on it, and it's getting there. I think I got like these 3 are 640. I think these end ones are 640, but the rest of them are not worked out yet. They're fluctuating in size, and they're kind of running up and through the hall, and they are going to go all the way to the top on these middle ones, and then it'll be kind of cloned over on the other side there. This center space here, which is quite a lot of room actually, is going to be, you know, all your constructors and deconstructors and all that fun stuff. Probably a little med bay or utility in here. And then this front wall could also be unique. And I got to figure out what other parts I want to get in here. So you'll basically have like your furnaces, production literally all the way around you, and something else up in the front section there. So I think that would work out pretty good. I'm trying to, you know, a lot of mapping of these things in here. But right now, what I'm planning on here is you got 8 640s running across the either wall. So that'll be 16 640s. Plus there's another 3 640s over on this side. I would like a nice even number of like 20 or something. I also probably, I don't know if I should put in one or not, since I don't really intend on, you know, having this thing have guns on it, because if you spawn it in a safe spot, there's no point in having the guns, nor would you need an ammo controller for guns then either. So those are some things I'm kind of like thinking I don't really want to put an ammo controller in this build. Now the top side, obviously where the farming section is being planned out, there's a lot of room down in here too, but some of these, I'm running a lot of those controller extensions up through the side of the base up into this area, so a lot of this area will get filled in with more controller extensions to fill that gap area in some more. And that's kind of the general plan right now. Okay, so there's another question that was brought up, and it kind of makes some sense. I can see where you're coming from on it. I said in the last video that the module doesn't actually technically dock to the base. So basically I was asked, well, what's the point then of having a module bay if it doesn't actually dock to the base? I guess the point would be the modules, you can move them from creation to creation. Like you could park this here, and then you could join it up to a CV. If you still have like a legit module bay on here, even though it doesn't dock, it's not a problem because the base, it doesn't move. But what that allows for you to do is to be able to walk in or go right into the module. I don't have this dock quite right now. And walk directly into the module like it was part of the same building. And that's kind of why I'm doing it. And it keeps it kind of organized and things like that. So rather than having a module just floating around the base in Wi-Fi range, it instead kind of has a specific place where it can dock. And there's a bunch of these different modules, and depending on what you're using, you can park it here. Then you can walk directly into the module without going out into space or anything like that too. So that's kind of the point. I did that with the Solaris station and some other stations using modules as well. The only thing I feel bad about is I didn't park this very well. Guess I did it a little. Half the problem is I can't see what I'm doing right now in space. It's really dark. But yeah, now Like, I don't have gravity in here, so I can't exactly turn off gravity and go through the door. But now, you know, when you're going to go into the module, it's bam, you're right here, you're inside. So that's, I just think it's kind of neat. I mean, obviously, it's not required. Again, CVs don't technically dock to bases. They could. I don't know why they don't technically do that, but bases also don't move. So, you know, it's not really a thing either way you look at it. So this is kind of where I'm at with the design right now. And this is what it looks like without obviously the module in place on the unfinished side here. And I'm going to straighten up some of this junk over here too. But this is going to be kind of neat with the, once I get this done, you can see there's a lot of like layers of blocks and overlapping blocks and other things going on the wall here. There'll be a lot of things that you can texture in there to hopefully get some good amounts of detail in there. And also, I kind of really liked, I rarely use these parts like this, but that just felt right because I put a kind of a little seam going around these pieces here, and I thought that part just kind of makes it look like it kind of, I don't know, joins up a little bit in one way or another. And I thought that was kind of a neat little thing. I don't think I've ever done that before with the blocks, or hardly ever used that block before ever. So that's kind of where I'm at with everything right now, and I do plan on doing some more like block work around these like bottom and top of this base on these sides as well. But right now, I guess the focus is on trying to get the production area in place and part upgrade stuff too, turbines and all that kind of stuff. I gotta have room for everything, and I want to keep it pretty neat and organized and things like that. So yeah, let me know what you think about this particular version. I think it keeps the base shape a whole lot more intact, even though it's stretched out a little bit. And that was kind of optional. I really didn't have to do the extra row out here for any particular reason, but I was just trying to cover up the front part of the module to make it look like it just, thought it looked neat. Basically, it changed the shape a little bit, kind of stretched it out a little bit, but I don't mind that at all, honestly, with the looks and things like that on the thing. And the overall, once it's done, you know, I'll have to figure out the solar panel arrangement yet. And from what I gather, it's going to fluctuate from system to system on the direction of the solar panels and some other things. Obviously, I want to put in a solar panel array stock, so I will probably keep them just straight, you know, straightforward, like these are up over here, and see how that works out. I can't accommodate for different systems with, you know, starlight coming from different directions and stuff like that in the build. They're not adjustable. I guess, you know, if it became a thing, if you tilt all the solar panels or replace them and tilt them with a different model, maybe that could help, or find a star that everything is like straight on. But other than that, it's just like one of those things that I can't build a solar panel arrangement that'll work perfectly for all systems. Just cannot work, it sounds like. So a lot of people will put in like a test base or starter base before they actually go with their other base. That was another comment that was kind of explaining that, to see, you know, get a layout of your sunlight and which way it's coming from and what star is the best and things like that. One other weird observation too is, obviously this is the star that's making the light right here. This system has 2 stars in it. There's another star, you can see that right on the map here, right on the other side of me there. Obviously, this other star is completely fake, though, because it doesn't even generate any light. So, that's just a fake star. I was kind of curious. I'm like, well, what happens if you got 2 stars in the same area? You're going to get sunlight from both directions? The answer is no. No, it's fake. So, this one's technically fake, too. It's just, you're seeing this, but, I mean, you could fly at this thing for your entire lifetime, and you're not ever going to get closer to it, or adjust your position in relation to it. It's fixed, basically. It's kind of fake. So I hope everybody likes this setup. Now, if you don't and you wanted more module bays, obviously the previous version would accommodate for more module bays, at least 4. And if things were copied and pasted a little bit more, you could probably get 8 on it. So it's a different configuration. This is a lighter design going this route. A lot less blocks used to accomplish it, and it'll be a lower size class, but it will only do 2 modules. I just think it keeps the base structure look a whole lot cleaner without all the extra craziness going on everywhere. I like the extra craziness on the right station. I really do. It's just, this one I was really just trying to keep it focused on this weird shape. And call it a day there. And so, I mean, if you look at how much significantly less blocks are involved in basically just doing this top thing, rather than a whole hallway and things and stuff going out the other way, it is significantly cheaper for the build cost and stuff on the base as well. Just less to do. So I just, please let me know your thoughts on this. And if you got any other ideas or anything like that too, I'm all ears. Obviously, from a comment based on why don't you just have 2 modules, one coming on each side, that literally changed my whole way. I spent like probably 4 or 5 hours making those variations of these module bays, and then I was like, I read this comment, I'm like, why don't I just do that? Because this is kind of a nightmare, and it's just adding a lot more than I wanted it to be, I guess, on the station. So I sort of abandoned hours and hours and hours of work so I could change it to this, and now I like this format better. It just makes more sense. It's to the point, and just so much less crap on it, I guess. But there might be people that want the other thing too, so I don't know how that's all going to go. I'm saving that other creation with the other module base, so I have that part. And if there's people that would like more modules on this, maybe I could put out like an unlisted alternative version that has the other module bays and more of them, if you want that kind of thing. Again, usually I care more about moving modules around in CVs like a Helios or other CVs that do that kind of thing. But on a station, especially, okay, now this station in particular, it's going to be really focused around production and storage and even farming. So a lot of those modules would be to do those kinds of things, but this base kind of already does that. And I don't know if you need more of that or not. You might with a big enough faction or something, but I mean, I'm going to try to really equip this thing pretty good, so it will, definitely be high production and high everything for gameplay, crafting, production, farming, storage, the whole ball of wax. And that's kind of the point of the station. As with one last aspect I did think about is if you got other CVs, obviously you probably will, and I don't know what to say. I thought about trying to build some kind of big old landing pads, or even like put a landing pad on top of this, or stretch this out more so you could park a CV all nice and pretty on top of it. And at that point though, I'm just really ramping up the cost and the block work. And again, I don't think it's just as easy to park a CV in space. It's a really easy station to get into. It might even have a top door and a bottom door as well, but obviously you can just kind of flutter right into the big old opening in the front here and get to where you got to go. So anyway, I do appreciate those comments. They do seriously alter a lot of builds. I would have went with something and someone gives a good idea out there, and I'm like, I start thinking about it and I'm like, yeah, you know what, that's not a bad idea at all. And it does help. It does help with the building, getting that input from a lot of different eyes, seeing it and trying to think about it a little bit and stuff like that. It's just very, very helpful. So I do appreciate that again. And other than that, that is all I've got in this video. I do plan on doing some more playthrough video a little bit later today. So I wanted to mess with this a little bit longer, and I got to eat lunch and that. I did the look at the workshop video this morning already, so pretty busy Empyrion day for me. But yeah, I did want to get on the server and play some more too. So I'll probably have a video out on that later on today. So other than that, y'all have yourself a great day. I'll talk to you later.